Good evening. Welcome to the 10th annual Revere Beach Memorial. Addiction is a devastating disease that is difficult to imagine if you have not experienced it within your family, with friends, or in your community. I struggle with even putting words together because it turns family members into strangers. It pins friends and family against one another. It devastates communities. Once someone has lost a family member to addiction, anxiety increases and consumes them. Grief is not a problem that can be solved. When you love someone who has died of an overdose, you feel alone, you feel guilty, you regret. The coulda, shoulda, wouldas. You miss them every day. And this may be a problem you don't want to solve. People say stupid things to us all the time as grievers. Overdose deaths can bring out some of those especially terrible comments that drive us further into isolation. But tonight, we are here to heal. We rise by lifting each other. Life is full of moments that matter. Moments of clarity, truth, perfection, and connection. Moments that signify turning points, missed opportunity, fate, and luck. It's too late for any one of us to change the past we shared with our loved ones we have lost. But what we can do is look back on our relationships in the same way we would flip back through a good book, slowly relishing all our favorite moments. There are no happy endings. Endings are the saddest part. So just give me a happy middle and remember your happy start.
My name is Ben. I'm a grateful recovering heroin addict. I got a poetry piece. Thank you. Some days I wish I could rewind time. Seen enough pain that leads me to be envious of the blind. I used to look up at the stars in the sky and pray each glimmer of light was a fallen angel that learned how to fly, an escape from Alcatraz. Addiction is a prison and the imprisoned have it bad. I wish for just one day heaven would open up those castle gates, lifting the weight of being forced to remember my fallen friend's face. Can we just have one more day, one more warm embrace, one more moment we can't replace instead of the memory that we celebrate? Please tell me, what will that take? Sons, daughters, fathers and brothers, friends, cousins, aunts, uncles and mothers, grandparents and even the people that we didn't like. I wish we could give them all a second chance at life as we illuminate the dark night. Carrying on like nothing's wrong is a hard fight. Tonight, we remember the big smiles and warm hugs of those we love. Angels looking down from heaven above. We remember the laughs and the tears that were cried. We remember how happy they made us feel inside. How their memory will always survive as long as we're alive. I believe that we are closer than it appears. We remember the good times we shared and that we will see each other again when we get there, even if I have to climb heaven's stairs. We remember as if they have never left here. We remember through videos and still frames. We remember their light burning bright through the tip of the flame. As we all come together to remember their names, to remember their life, to celebrate their memory. I carry my fallen friends until the end with me. We light a candle for the loved ones that have left. We remember because we could never forget. As we walk with an army of angels, side by side, step by step, from this life into the next. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Debbie, and when I was asked to speak tonight and tell my personal story about the effects that addiction had on my family, I thought about what I would say. Just like most people here tonight, I have lost a loved one to an overdose. He was a kind, giving person with bright blue eyes and a smile that would light up a room. He was a big guy who most people thought was tough, but inside he was a teddy bear. He loved to play jokes and he had a great sense of humor. If he liked you, he would do anything for you. But if he did not like you, he would let you know. If you looked up the word stubborn in the dictionary, it probably had his name next to it. He was a talented welder and he loved his family. His name was Joey when he was little, Joe when he got older, and Joseph Lewis when I was mad. He was a brother, a son, an uncle, a nephew, a cousin, grandson, and friend. He was a person with the disease who was too often labeled. When he was little, I would ask him what he wanted to be when he grew up. He was fascinated with trucks, and he would say he wanted to be a rubbishman. I would tell him, no, he did not want to be a rubbishman. He wanted to be the man who owned the rubbish company. Rubbishman was one of the many jobs that he tried. Needless to say, he quickly realized it was not for him. He wanted to be a firefighter like his grandfather. He talked about being many different things when he grew up, but never once did he say he wanted to be a heroin addict. He did not choose to be a heroin addict. The disease chose him. The more I talk with others who have lost a loved one, I find that our stories are almost the same. I spent most of my time always wondering when the phone would ring to give me the news I never wanted to hear. All the while I was trying to live a somewhat normal life. It was hard to have a normal life. It was always on my mind, and it never went away. Every time I would hear an ambulance, I would wonder if he was in it. I would plan his death in my mind and plan his funeral, not admitting to anyone that I was doing this. I later found out that that was a normal reaction. Someone once asked me how I dealt with not knowing where he was. My answer was I just pretended he was off fighting a battle. To me, that was the truth. He was at war with his addiction. People would ask me what I did last night or over the weekend. I would answer nothing much, never admitting to people that I spent the nights, weekends on the computer, searching the morgues for John Doe's, searching police reports to see if he was arrested, hoping for the arrest over the alternative. I remember sitting at the funeral home making arrangements for him, and they were saying that in the obituary they wanted to use sudden or unexpected death. I looked at him and said there was no way that this was sudden or unexpected, and that I did not want those words used. There was nothing sudden about his death. He suffered a long time. In some ways, it was expected. Even though my son has passed, addiction will always be a part of my life. It took a special, very special person from me. As families who have lost someone to this disease, we need to talk about it so that we can bring awareness that addiction is not a choice. Addicts are people who struggle every day and belong to a family. They are someone's son, daughter, father, mother, brother, sister, and deserve to be treated as a person and not be labeled. I also want to bring awareness that addiction is a family disease. One person may use, but the whole family suffers. I no longer can hope that my son will get better, so now I hope that by sharing my story, I can help people to think about the families as well as the addicts, and to learn, understand, have compassion, and think before you label someone who suffers from this awful disease. No one is exempt. It could happen to any family at any time. Also, I speak out so that people will be more respectful about what they say. You never know who you're talking to. You could be standing next to someone who is silently suffering with addiction issues in their family. They may never say a word, but it is hurtful to them. They did not ask to be in this situation, and they have enough to deal with. Finally, don't ever give up on them. No matter what part you play in their life, you could be that one person or say that one thing that will finally make a difference in their lives. Help end the stigma of addiction that keeps so many people from seeking the recovery that they deserve by showing your support and continuing to talk about the issue.
Good evening, everyone. This is a reading of the 4 candles. The first candle represents our grief. The pain of losing you is intense. It reminds us of the depth of our love for you. The second candle represents our courage to confront our sorrow, to comfort each other, to change our lives. The third candle we light in your memory for the times we've laughed, the times we've cried, the times we were angry with each other, the silly things you did, the caring and joy you gave us. The fourth candle we light for our love. We light this candle that your light will always shine as we think of you each day and share your memory with our family and friends. Thank you to everybody who lit the candle. We cherish the special place in our hearts that will always be reserved for you. We thank you for the gift your living brought to each of us. We love you.
Hi, at this time we'll go around and start lighting the candles. The lighting of the candle. The lighting of the candle represents our grief and pain over losing you. It represents how much we love you. It represents the courage to confront sorrow and comfort each other. The lighting of the candle represents all memories of you. The times we laughed together, cried together, or were silly together. The times we were angry at each other. The joyful, wonderful times we shared with each other. And for all the memories we have shared. Finally, the lighting of the candle represents the love in our hearts, what we have. The lighting of the candle represents the love in our hearts. We will always burn bright for you.
Matt Adario. Tiffany Ann. Brother Augustini. Suki Allen. Mark Alandado. Jack Avalone. Mel Barrasso. Jason Bagania. Keith Barr. Ricky Bell. Christopher Beloy. Michael Bennett. Jesse Bianelli. Karen Lynn Berry. Paul Bova. Emily Rosesco. Mel Brazo. Jason A. Brogna. Crystal Cagino. Thomas Cahill. Eddie Capiello. Daniel Carboni. Britt Carboni. Rachel Carr. Kelly Carrigan. Jamie Catanazzo. Kevin Cesari. Paul Ciampoli. Carolyn Ciampoli. Tristan Sinis Coasso. Christopher Clark. Wayne Collins. Valerie Coro. Danielle Crane. Mark Crane. Bo Crocker. Eddie Cruz. Gino Colangelli. Anthony Cavino. Brian Crenell. Vernon Creamer, Hector Crespo, Christina Crespo, Dominic Crespo, Rocco Consolo, Jason Daniels, Stephen J. Daigle Jr., Clyde DeBay, Michael Delaney, Richie DeMeo, Michael DeMarco, Frankie Denti, Adam DePaulo, Andrea DeSorbo, Mike DiGiantomaso, David Dill, Dino DeSalvo, Andrew Deneen, David Doherty, Jason Doherty, Jesse Doherty, Jillian Doherty McLaughlin, Shelby Dunbar,
Gabriel Elliott, Frankie Farrell, Adam Federico, Figliolini, Janelle Fishek, Michael Frasca, Brian Gehagen, Josh Gauthier, Janelle Garland, Mike Giantomaso, Michael Giglio, Michelle Giglio, Sal Giuliano, Kervin Good, Lauren Goodwin, Huba Gonzalez, Zach Green, Erica Grover, Jordan Haddad, David Hall, Gail Hannon, Joseph Hanscom, George Hanton, Robert Hardy, Stephen Harrington, LaRusha Harris, Joseph Harrison, Edward Hedrington, Kenny Harrow, Lee Higgins, Jimmy Holcomb, Dwayne Horton, Daniel Joseph Hunter III, Daniel Emmerman, Jason Javoli, Jim, Stephen Jonas, Michael Jones, Cheryl Dalton Jones, Josh Joseph. Eileen Kelly. Barbara Caravan. Bobby King. Bobby LaCentra. John Ladner. Rico Latarella. Donnie Levitt. Anthony M. Labrassiere. Jennifer Lee. Aaron Leventhal. Chucky E. Libby. Cassandra Little. McGuire Lucido. Frank Lyons Jr.
Dennis Medallo. Paul Vincent McSheehan. Jimmy Maggiano. Edward M. McGuire. Robert Mantranga. Mike Mastronello. Jill McAvoy. Dorothy McConnell. Scott McGinnis. April McGrath. Marlo Martini. Adam Marr. Colt Meredith. Jim Mecarelli. Andrew David Mitchie. Josh Miller. Phil Miller. Scott Miller. Jason Mitchell. Kelly Monaco. Matthew Monaco. Anthony Morales. Gregory Mullen. Stephen Murphy. Dennis Murphy. Michael Murphy. Danielle Negron. Bobby Nunes. Charlie Oviolo. David O'Rourke. Lenny Orlandello Jr. Michael Palazzo. Donald Parent. Michael Petrillo. Ralph Petrillo. Robert Pierce. Christine Popolo. Tony Ponte. John Popolo. John Squish. Scott Quinn. Taylor Richards. Vic Rustiano. Mickey Rivers Falta. Dominic Rizzuti. Joelle Riley. Papo Rivera. Chini Rivera. Frankie Rivicchio. Joseph Roach. Morgan Roberts. Barbara Rojevich. Roger Rondier. Ronald Rondier. George Rowland.
Michael Delaney. Tom Saudi. Jamie Scanzillo. Andrew Scabilia Sr. Andrew Scabilia Jr. Brendan Scalise. Shane Scott, Joseph Saforza, Philip Serganori, Noranino, Danny Silverman, Maureen Simone, Will Sommer, Joseph Speranza, Michael Stewart, John Stenson, Alan Stone, Christopher J. Strong, Nikki Sweeney, Keith Tedesco, Philip Thomas, Mona Thiel, Ryan Trepp, Kayla Trizzle, Jason Tremblay, Leo Turco, Robert Bugsy Udasvintas, Joey Vanessa, Gino Ventimiglia, Casey Washburn, Paul Weed, Sean Welch, Denise Wensley, Thomas Whalen, Douglas Wen, Eddie Rosinski, Douglas Wilson, Chrissy Woodward, Valerie Yodela,
I am Chucky, grateful, recovering addict. They asked me to say the Serenity Prayer, so if you know it, join in. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Living one day at a time, enjoying one moment at a time, accepting hardships as the pathways to peace. Taken as he did this sinful world as it is, not as I would have it, trusting that he will make all things right if I surrender to his will, that I may be reasonably happy in life and supremely happy with him forever in the next. Amen.
How everybody doing tonight? I'm Ralphie, I'm a grateful recovered addict. I'm a graduate from Chelsea Drug Court. We invite you to extinguish your candles now. Let us leave remembering those we have lost and those who are still suffering from the disease, giving them the strength and hope to enter into or maintain their recovery. Good night all.